Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Loretta Ulmer, one of the instructional designers at CLT, and this is my 10th Summer Institute, mine. So I'm wondering if we have any people out there who have been to 10? Well, today is, over the next 2 days, should be pretty exciting. This is the 2015 Faculty Summer Institute on Teaching and Learning, Making a Difference with Service Learning. And we at ODU's Center for Learning and Teaching are very pleased to have you with us for these next 2 days of learning. Now, I'd like for you to take a look at your program. You'll notice that there are several different rooms where the various events are going to be held. So I can familiarize you. On this side is D and E. If you go out those doors and come over this way, that's where A and B are. The one thing I love about our program this year is that it's color coordinated. So this is the blue room, and everything that you see in blue is going to be meeting in this room. We also ask that you carefully and thoughtfully evaluate each session that you attend, because we do use your comments to improve our institute each year, and I certainly feel that it's gotten better and better and better every year. As you attend each individual event, you'll be given an evaluation form to complete. And each completed anonymous evaluation sheet has a tear-off portion beneath it so that it allows you to enter into our drawings. And believe me, they are great prizes. They will be held at the end of the day, the end of each of the days. In your packet, you'll also find an evaluation for the entire institute. So please complete that and submit it tomorrow afternoon, and there's also a drawing for that. Now this year we have something very interesting. We have Teach, Learn, Win. So also you may have some of these books, or one of these booklets. We're offering a very interactive component this year. So you are invited to play the conference. So for each task that you complete, you'll earn points that will allow you to level up from novice to proficient to master as you compete for prizes. So there are prizes attached with your involvement with gaming the conference. To begin your quest in this game, we want you to visit room B on a break, or click the QR code that's on your program on page 11. We also this year have a CLT playground. So anytime after our keynote speech this morning, you're invited to the CLT playground, where you can informally try out any of the technologies that is used by CLT or at ODU. So there will be a telepresence. We have WebEx there for you to try out. You can work on Kaltura, also Box, how to use Box, web conferencing, video conferencing and video recording, and archives. So be sure that you stop by over there to learn how to do some of these things. And there's also refreshments over there. And that is at the East Lobby. Several portions of the Institute are being broadcast live. So if you find yourself fascinated by something, you'll be able to watch it in the archive afterward. And speaking of archiving, we are also taking photographs of the various events at the Institute. So if you are unwilling to have your photograph used in an archive or in a promotional piece for for the Center for Learning and Teaching. Please let Allison Shea know that. And Allison is in the back. So now I would like to give the mic over to Dr. Mohammed Abdous, Director of the Center for Learning and Teaching and Assistant Vice President for Teaching and Learning at Old Dominion University.
Thank you, Loretta. Good morning, everyone. A little bit louder. Good morning, that's better. So on behalf of the Office of Distance Learning and the Center for Learning and Teaching, I would like to welcome you to our 17th annual Summer Institute. So we have been doing this for 17 years, right? Obviously, as you all know, the topic for us this year is making a difference through service learning. Basically, we choose this theme really in terms of, for a couple of reasons. Perhaps if you had a chance to go through the Summer Institute website, you might have had the opportunity to read a little bit, the reasoning and the logic behind it. But really in terms of how does actually service learning make a difference from the student perspective, as you all know, research tells us that one among other benefits is that service learning actually sharpens their critical thinking skills, but more importantly, provides students with real-world experience by taking them from inside the classroom to outside the classroom to the real world in terms to see how what they are learning actually is going to be helpful, useful for them once they graduate. So that's actually one of the main reasons we focused on this, because our interest is obviously to provide students with effective and engaging learning experience. As far as the impact of service learning on the university in general, in addition to strengthening the partnership between the university and the community, if you want, is actually it gets us higher education practitioners from out of the tower, so to speak. In other words, really get us to what is actually, how does what we are teaching our student really affects or basically plays out in the real world. And sometimes we can be actually, in terms of that impact, how does it play out? Sometimes we can be surprised. And of course, in terms of the impact of service learning on community in general, by tackling real-world problem, sometimes, as we said on the website, with a youthful perspective of the student, and perhaps sometimes a naive perspective in terms of how do we tackle world problems. Obviously, the fourth aspect of why service learning is important and why it was chosen as a theme is its impact on faculty. Faculty, once they are outside in the real world, perhaps they might have a different perspective on their disciplinary tradition. The way they interact with their content may be different, because even in terms of how they approach it, perhaps there would be more emphasis in terms of bridging theory with practice, providing more examples, engaging student. If you want to say, you can actually have that an utilitarian perspective in terms of teaching and learning, because now they see what I'm teaching my student, this is how gonna be used or play out in terms of the real world. So, and of course, these are the four main reasons. But really, in terms of in a sense, the key question is, how does a well-established tradition of service learning affect student learning? We know that in terms of, there are a lot of things, as I mentioned, but the key point for us was this was the main question. And to answer this question, as Loretta mentioned, we have a very rich program that includes actually nearly 25 workshops and over 60 presenters, actually, records in the history of Summer Institute, for CLT. We are really excited about it. And of course, this year, as Loretta mentioned as well, we have a group of faculty who are actually, if you want, metagaming the Institute. What does that mean? They are actually doing a parallel activity around the Institute, and the main goal of this activity that is being conducted is to demonstrate to faculty that sometimes just basic playful activities can make a difference in engaging students. So that's why you are encouraged to be involved in this WIN game activity that is happening. so you can actually use those ideas once you go back to your classroom in terms of using them. And sometimes it can be, as it will be demonstrated, some just basic information that can actually help make a difference in terms of your student learning. And of course, just to sum up, in terms of the main goal why we are doing this and continue to do it year after year is really to provide our faculty with an opportunity to connect, learn, inspire, teach, and reflect on what they do in terms of teaching and learning. And we consider that this is a very important opportunity for us, and we hope that you seize this opportunity to connect, learn, and reflect with each collectively and individually, so you can actually make a difference in terms of your student learning experience. At this time, let me invite our Vice Provost for Faculty Development, Dr. Da Silva Chandra, to introduce our keynote, Miss Nadine Cruz. Chandra?
Thank you, Mohammed. Can you hear me at the back? Okay, great. As Mohammed mentioned, I'm Chandra Da Silva, and for the next month, I will continue to be the Vice Provost for Faculty Development. I am now, in a sense, standing in for the Provost. And although she is not here with you today, I know that she is with you in spirit, because she has been a strong advocate not only of service learning, but of the CLT. The CLT, if I may say this, has been a wonderful development at Old Dominion University. We do care about our students, and we do the best for our students, but we also do care about our faculty. And in order to do our best for the students, what we really need to do is to equip our faculty, to encourage our faculty, to enthuse our faculty, to provide resources for our faculty so that they can do the best job they can. And I'm glad also that the theme that the CLT has chosen is service learning. I'm not going to talk to you about service learning because Mohammed has already talked to you a lot about it. And in any case, you're going to forget most of the things I said, because the main speaker, the keynote speaker, is going to give a brilliant performance soon after I step down. Right, Nadine? So my main task here is to say thank you for coming. I know that this is almost summer. It sort of feels like summer outside. But you have chosen the day to come and learn a little bit more and to share your knowledge about some aspects of teaching and learning. To help you, we have today Nadine Cruz. Now, if you really want to hear a lot about Nadine, actually, if you want to learn something about Nadine, you can just turn to the second page of your program, and there's a lot of material on her. So I'm not going to repeat all this. I'm not going to tell you about the book she has published. I am not going to tell you about what she did at Stanford and at Minnesota. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Nadine and the impression I have of her. I know we met only for a few minutes, but a few minutes is enough to get a good impression of who a person is. At least it is for me. I may be mistaken, but Nadine, I'm glad to have here not only an expert on service learning, but somebody who cares. Speaking to Nadine for a few minutes, you realize that this is somebody who cares passionately about this topic, because she's been working on this since she was working with peasants back in the Philippines, right? So she has a long history. And what is important for us as teachers is not only the subject knowledge and the technique, but the caring we bring to our classrooms and to our teaching. And Nadine, when you listen to her, will embody a lot of that. Secondly, she's somebody who is very gracious. I talked to her for a few minutes and she didn't tell me anything about herself. She just talked about other things. And that's a wonderful thing to have, because I know many of you are qualified in many ways, but you come to Old Dominion to give. And let me conclude. I know I didn't give you a big formal introduction, Nadine, but your speech will be enough. All right? Let me tell you one other thing. Mohammed has covered a lot relating to service learning. But service learning is also at the core of one of the things we want to do at Old Dominion University, and that is community engagement. We are a metropolitan public university. We have our obligation to our students. We also have obligations to the community around us. And service learning, at its best, serves the needs of the community as well as the needs of our students. So what we need, what we are trying to do is to match the knowledge we give them relating to theories, match a combination of the classwork experience they have with the external experience and serving the community. And finally, as the speakers, the galaxy of speakers who's going to follow me will tell you, we need to have reflection and a conversation about what you have learned through service learning. I think I've spoken enough, and so let me bring our keynote speaker, Nadine. Thank you, Nadine.